Morning.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to our retrofit day. So today we would call it the discipline of kings in German, Königsdisziplin, in construction, because retrofit is a completely different kettle of fish, if you ask me. It's super hard to correct mistakes in construction. And that's something we're talking about today. Today, we're starting to use the Passive House Institute's material. So you see what the Passive House Institute put together. I think this material is still pretty good. If you want to get a more Smart Plus Academy approach and having a master plan for your retrofit, there's a webinar on our website that you have access to. It's called the Master Plan for Retrofit. And there I'm going through the different steps of retrofitting. Like, I personally have a different opinion to a lot of professionals out there regarding retrofit. I always say health is a good that is far more valuable than energy efficiency. Yeah, like your health is something we shouldn't be messing around with. So I personally put in the ventilation system first, the heat recover ventilation system. This reduces the whole risks of the structure dramatically. So the heat recover ventilation system is one of the first steps for me in a retrofit. If your health is gone, you got now some of these wrong spores into your body that trigger something in your body, and now you are intolerant to XYZ for the rest of your life. Like, there's some mold types. One exposure is enough to have a lifetime trouble with it. And that's the reason for me. It's health come first, and then we're saving the planet. It's the same than in an airplane. What are they telling us? Put on your breathing mask first, and then helping your neighbors. So for me, health is a really high, I really value health so much higher than the energy efficiency. So we first have to get the health issue sorted, and we can reduce that risk dramatically by putting a heat recover ventilation system in. You will get the argument of the heat recover ventilation guys that they say, yeah, but it is not working efficiently if the building is not airtight. And it's like, yeah, I know, from an energy efficiency understanding, correct, but not from a health perspective. One thing that happens a bit with putting a ventilation system in a really leaky house, because you're pushing the air in one room and you're sucking the air out in another room. And if the building itself is leaky, so in the places where you suck out the air, you depressurize that room, so it will suck in the air through your buildup. So that's what we're having now. Where do we take the air out? It's in our wet rooms. So now the moisture is not pushed into the wall. It's actually takes the air from the outside through the wall, and then goes through the ventilation system. I don't think there is really an issue, except in hot climates. So hot climates, the risk is turning around. And now in the supply rooms, that's our living area, dining area, bedrooms, home offices. In that places, we are now pressurizing the room, so pushes that air from that room into the walls. And now it could be that the internal moisture load could come to a condensation while pushing it through the wall. Yeah, and that could increase the risk of the structure. So the durability could be at risk. But compared to the health benefits, that you're reducing all toxic levels by 50% in the building, because you're ventilating consistently in every single room, the benefits are far higher. Yeah, so that's the reason why, for me, ventilation system comes first. What has to come last in a retrofit? Can you imagine what's the last thing that you want to fix and replace? The conditioning system. That's the last thing you want to tackle. Because if you now do a thermal upgrade and the building is now far more energy efficient, and you're putting now a heating system or a cooling system or a conditioning system into the house, that system can be far smaller. If I'm now doing the replacement of the conditioning system in an early step, I need to size now my conditioning system so that it is able to carry that load without a full retrofit. in retrofit, there are two ways of doing a retrofit. Do everything in one step or step-by-step retrofit. So you don't need to do the whole retrofit in one go. You can do the retrofit in multiple steps. That's the reason I'm saying first ventilation, last conditioning, when we speak about the step-by-step retrofit. So it's two different approaches to it. One is like doing everything in one go, and one is doing it in step-by-step. The advantage of doing it all in one go is the client is only disturbed once, and then it's done, and you only have to design your retrofit for the final stage. Yes, you don't have to think about, is that between steps still safe for the client from a mold perspective, condensation perspective, from health perspectives, like is that in between step acceptable, or is it something that I need to be more careful with? So that's the advantage of the one step approach, that you take the old building, take everything out that you don't want, replace it with the things that you want, and then people move in. You only have to set up the site once, you interrupt the client only once, and you only have to think about the final stage. So that's the advantage. Disadvantage is that you may have to rip stuff out that doesn't need to be ripped out yet, that hasn't seen the end of their lifetime. Yeah, it could be your external render, it could be your heating system, could be your windows or something like that. So it could be that maybe you come to a project and they just replaced their windows with double glazing, but really poor double glazing bought in Bunnings. And now they're far better than what was there before, but they're still not what we want in a passive house project. But now they're in there for, say, 3, 4, 5 years. And the lifetime of that product, if it's such a cheap one, maybe 15 years, you may don't want to lose that 10 years of lifetime of that product and getting the return of investment of that product. Yeah, so that's the residual value that we're losing in a way if you're not getting the lifetime out of the product. Or it could be the roof has been just replaced, and has been done new, and now you can't do the roof. Or it could be your external finish is beautiful and new, and you don't want to tackle that. So there are things that you may not want to change. So the advantage of that is that you can get the lifetime out of every product, but you have to think about every single step, that every single step is safe. And you may want to prepare the upcoming steps. So if you're, for example, having the situation, the external finish is worn down, the external finish is completely needs to be replaced. So now you have the opportunity to do a thermal upgrade. So now you come to that project and you put an execution plan together for the whole retrofit until it's a certified passive house. And now you say, okay, here we're replacing now the external render. That's normally the easiest. So we're putting on thermal insulation, putting render on it, and we're already preparing the install of the windows in the future. So that we leave the windows in there, we thermally insulate into the reveal to make sure that we are not having condensation issues there. But we already cut the insulation in a way that we can take out the old windows, take out that additionally installed thermal insulation, put in the new window, seal it up easily, and now it's done. So you can already design that step and say, in 5 years, when you have more money or when the lifetime of the product is over, then replace the windows. Or it could be you're coming to a site and they say, we want new windows, and the windows are already in really bad conditions. So now you could actually say, we install the windows in a way that they have already air tightness and all the flaps already installed. And we may still put them into our structure where they are, but we fix them in a way that we can replace, we can loosen some screws. And now when we do the external render, we push it out in there, fix it again, just do the water tightness external that is prepared that we can do it. And then we have the internal that is now connecting to the internal. Happy days. So this is now this step by step that you need to think of every single step. What you do, you need to make sure that every step is not causing a health hazard. And you may want to think about the next steps as well. And that's now the things that we're learning today, and how we execute that, and what options are there, and what things to look out for. So that's our retrofit day at the end. And then at the end of the day, we're doing the the certification process. So we taking you through what are the different stages by the understanding of the Passive House Institute, what we have to do, and when we're getting the different people involved. We have done that a little bit on A Day, like our first time we met when I went through the Passive House design, where I said that Passive House is a team, it's team play, that we're working in teams together, and that we have now our Passive House designer that has this holistic approach to the design and has a holistic understanding of everything. That's what you're doing right now. You understand now, okay, I can improve my thermal envelope, or I can improve my heating and cooling system, or I can do my ventilation system centralized, decentralized. You're now having a holistic view of construction. And now you're speaking to your professionals. You speak now to the mechanical engineer and say, yeah, how could we do that? He comes then with a solution that you now, with your holistic understanding, say, yeah, this is an option, but this is not really energy efficient and it runs in trouble with XYZ. So let us try it this way. Could we do it XYZ? And then finding a solution with them. So you're more or less like that communicator between them, getting professionals involved as early as possible, that we're getting the best result. So that's pretty much the role of the Passive House designer. And then you might be a number cruncher that is doing all the numbers in the PHPP, what we're learning tomorrow, the software, or you're more the artist, the one that likes to design the things and put the things down on paper and has the patience to put it onto paper, because I don't have it. So put it onto paper, and then having, and that's what you want, and you thinking about how that feels and looks and all that things. And now that's what you do, that's what you're good at. And now you have your colleague that is the number cruncher that can do all that number stuff. And that's where I get lost in. Like, I can spend hours on an Excel sheet and playing around with it and optimizing things, and then think, oh, I didn't even have breakfast yet. Yeah, so that's the different personalities that we have. It makes no sense to try to get a fish to fly or a bird to dive. Yeah, like, we have our personalities, we have our strengths, and it makes more sense to focus on our strengths than actually going down into torturing ourselves and doing things that we don't like to do. Yeah, team play is perfect, because now we can work with our strengths and working with the strengths of different people, and always having different views from different people always helps to get the best result, I believe, as long there's somebody leading the whole process, and it's not at the end like, yeah, we're having in German a saying, if you have too many cooks, they even burn water in a way. Yeah, because everybody is doing something different, and the result is then shattered. So we're going through that certification process again at the end of the day, and you see it's a little bit different than we explained it and what are the things to look out for, but it gives you a clear identification when you want to get your certifier on, when you as a designer work on it, and these different groups that are working on it. So that's what we're doing, that we're finishing up with.